nobody do. That's sucker to me.
Don't call me a sucker no more.
Discussion, as well as for instructive and fair use purposes. This is just an opinion, not factual information or legal advice. Any publicly available materials are supplied solely for discussion and context. I took a brief break from you all. Well, maybe not two, but I had to support my Valkyrie by going to the small Lamont. And darling, my phone was turning on more quickly than he was shifting positions. After my last video on chemistry or conflicts, I never imagined that we would be back here so quickly, yet here we are. But before we get started, the Aston Martin Valkyrie is a hypercar that actually recycles its braking energy and produces a power increase. For my car enthusiasts, if you ever get the chance, go do it. Additionally, it is a 10-hour endurance race. There are 54 automobiles in 4 different categories and types. And my guy came in second in his class, so I'm overjoyed. However, it appeared that there were fights on the pod when I was observing the track's wrecks. I'm gonna say that. Are you going to say that? I'm having a flashback to this exact time. I anticipated something. It seems as though they spoke too forcefully, as if they were speaking from the back of their throats.
Have you ever thought about getting at the topics?
Yo, no, shit.
No,
Order in the court.
That's what you got here.
This one has a different tone than the others. It isn't amusing. It's not a lighthearted joke. I could tell tension was building at that point. How did we get here then? Was this an instance of two people having a horrible day, building tension, being comfortable with everything, or being determined to misunderstand one another, as it appeared that everyone was on a different time? To gain a complete picture of the day in the Podverse, let's begin with Saturday's pod, episode 868. Additionally, we will adhere to the breadcrumbs. Furthermore, the episode is titled Bad Guju, which is ironic enough. To begin, we may observe that Marc arrived prepared to pod. He has a strong interest into subjects, as demonstrated by his mention of John Forte. He wrote letters to people you don't know, such as on Revolt and Free to Fight. We will just provide him with letters of support and encouragement to push for jail terms commensurate with the offense and to serve as a resource. However, Joe didn't appear to be getting it. I won't lie to you, guy. Ever since this Mark fire, I don't understand the definition of a freedom warrior. I have no idea. You have Mona in the interim. She's adding a few gags. Return one of the wings to your pocket. She even talks about her personal experience. However, what really caught my attention was Joe's body language, which made it clear that he didn't want to carry on the topic. At one point, I believe he even stood up and said, "I'm gonna get some chicken." You want to have a conversation, don't you? Yes, indeed. Man, I am here to chicken it over. Mark seems to be attempting to use significant events on the platform to raise awareness and have meaningful conversations on those topics, which is where I started paying closer attention. Is he being drawn away from it, though? Has Joe Budden strayed so far from comprehending the type of predicament Mark was discussing with John Forte? You know, the understanding and empathy that Mark is struggling to maintain. Has the Patreon Gate lead eliminated that? Or is this simply Tulu Tumarius?
Mark?
Mark wrote in Arabic on the board, so I don't know, like, Joe said I slipped topics in.
Okay.
Can I write them on?
Because, Mark, could you please start writing your topics on the board when Joe says something like this? It's narrating how he might be attempting to help Mark spot problems rather than engage in political maneuvering. Like, for every pod, you have a topic in your back pocket that isn't on the board and is a bit uncomfortable. Do you think that's possible? If so, did Mark record what was taking place? First, Joe told me to chill on politics, he says. I now have to write brief summaries of my subjects on the board for Joe to peruse. And now he's becoming excited about something he takes very seriously. He even says something once when Mona was kind of adding a joke to her speech and Joe was like, "Oh." His response is, "I wasn't saying anything important. Proceed, I'll get back to you. Compose. I didn't matter." Yes, exactly. Sometimes when folks are locked up, I write to them. In this particular episode, it appears that he began to realize in real time that it's not the vibe, perhaps, that he had anticipated with being able to express his political opinions. How did you get the information to let us know that they were picking him? However, at the end of the episode, Mark appears exhausted. He's keeping his mouth shut. At one point, it appears as if he is dozing off and is trying to force a smile to end the performance. That could be enough of a hardship. Or perhaps he just remembered he left something crucial at home. You know, some people can have a very difficult day as a result. Or perhaps he's simply worn out by the fact that he seems to be juggling a lot of Patreon engagements and speaking engagements about everything from fandom to educational buildings, from spaces to places, and from windows to walls. It appears like Mark is inside. All right, let's go on to the Patreon episode, which is the second half of the day. Every seat is occupied. Flip arrives late and enters the room halfway through. We already know that he is enrolled in an anger management course, and he has mentioned on several occasions that he has been dealing with a personal issue. Thus, we just get a glimpse of his day and his current situation. However, consider the visual impact of initially being instructed to skip the main pod. Hey, he didn't text me. Enter for Patreon. I say hello. So, I waited. When I arrived after filming in Baltimore, he began attempting to discuss it with Joe.
Sit down. The last episode I did pretty good. Why you want me to sit down? He started.
So it's that air from Mark that you hear, to me, that kicks it off to set the tone.
Not coming to the main episode. I'm gonna turn up on you.
However, Mark then butts in, and I keep asking why. He began asking Flip these questions, but why, as well as you teasing me. I told him we laughed on the phone because of this. Flip, may I interrupt you for a moment? Yes. Why do you suppose you were instructed to? No, I don't. Flip now replies that he doesn't consider other people's perspectives. He doesn't speak behind people's backs or under duress. As Ish begins nodding in answer, Ice is also nodding emphatically in agreement. Thus, all three of these are in agreement. I enjoyed seeing you. Corey, Flip appeared. Flip appeared. The performance was over, they were unplugging, because according to Mona, Mark appeared to be attempting to initiate something at one point. You know, are you interested in discussing it? Gangster who is hard-pressed. And I understand that we have no idea what is actually happening behind the scenes, but you're attempting to project an almost managerial or confrontational tone in front of a large group of people. No. Flip is shown here simply trying to cool down and power up at the same time. He is attempting to keep his composure while literally feeling hot. Before we go on to this moment, let's take a quick look back at the prior altercations with Flip and Mark that have occurred over the last 11 months. This is what's going on here. Call me and ask whether I'm okay with it.
Yeah, because you're in Philly and I f you, but I don't give a f though. I don't give a fuck.
Then don't call me about it.
Playing with words with you, and you do that a lot to be disrespectful. To talk to you, can run your mouth to talk. Now
Mark
I got
and
him.
Flip.
No,
He got me. He about to fry me up.
And this is only a few. And now we're here.
That's sucker to me.
Don't call me a sucker no more. Yo, don't call me a sucker no more. Yo, don't call me a sucker no
Nobody's
more.
gonna do nothing.
Don't call me a sucker no more.
As if that weren't enough, Flip's head is likely reverberating with these instances. You'll be able to go there immediately, I'm sure. Everyone ought to go on vacation, in my opinion. Indeed, sir. Many thanks. Particularly if your class rotates. And given what transpired with Mel, Flip could be wondering if he will be the next. They discuss when it's best to fire someone.
Time to fire is when he's going through personal issues. He is right.
Joe adds that he concurs. Then there is the combination of paying someone younger with less money and Stephen A. The appreciation is in keeping you here when we could find a younger, less expensive replacement for you. You are aware that bringing Mona in would fall under that category. She mentioned, receiving a small payment or something in a comment on another episode. Additionally, I believe she made a reference to 90 days. I have to revisit and examine that. Flip stated that he was having a day, and now we have Mark, who might have been having a day. In the meantime, the ball adds salt, or as he puts it,
throw a bomb.
Performance reviews were coming, and this is the fourth quarter. Add all that to the pot, and it seems like the chemistry just turned combustible. Do you think there are too many A mics now? Is Flip trying to find his spot with Mona and Mark, and Mark with Flip and Mona as well? It's starting to feel to me like there are too many point guards and maybe some ball hogs. Also, when you plant little seeds that make people feel like they're replaceable, it's only a matter of time before someone snaps, especially someone who may have been close to the chopping block before. And Joe joking with Lip saying, "Wait till I get the new cast." Yeah, that doesn't land the same, especially on the heels of Mel's absence. When you're being told to sit out the main pod and then you walk into a room full of people and then you're getting questioned. Now again, we don't know what kind of day Flip was already having, but I can tell from this clip alone, if you just take the beginning of this, Flip was coming up, but don't kick my car. I am coming up. Don't come through my... He didn't walk in starting.